All right, let me know when we are good to go.
Just keep speaking so I can check that.
Yeah.
Keeping speaking.
Oh, sorry, you know we're live right now.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. So Paul said,
Good evening.
Good evening, lads.
Good evening.
Good evening, Paul. Good to have everyone back here.
Should I do the intro?
All of the winners. Apologies to anyone who was just in here. We were just testing our cameras and everything. If you saw us scrolling through them. But yeah, everything's working and good to go this time.
Yes.
After the little interruption last time. But yeah, we have a lot to talk about this week.
Well, should I do the...
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Interesting start. Welcome back to the Class and Grass Podcast, Season 3, Episode 9.
There we go.
There it is.
Intro's done.
Official.
Intro's done. Officially up. Thanks for tuning in if you are live right now. And thanks for tuning in if you are listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Google, I don't know, everything.
Wherever you find
everything else out there, that has all those podcasts. And yeah, without further ado, we're going to get started. Huge week this week, or this past week, should we say. And a lot happened.
Not really on the football pitch.
Yeah, not really on the football pitch. I know the episode is titled Sacks All Around. I don't know if you guys got the joke, but the sack is maybe not what you were thinking of. It is the firing of many managers. So we will get to that in a bit.
Yes.
But starting off with the Hassani of the week for this week is Emil Smith-Rowe getting
Paul
3
will be
goals.
happy.
He will. Getting 3 goals in 3 straight Prem games.
Yes. He scored the winner against Watford at home last weekend, and he's just been on a roll. And also, I think it's like 6 goal involvements in 6 games as well. Yes. Yeah. Yes, Paul's extremely excited. I know you wanted Ramsdale last week, and
we kind of snubbed you on Ramsdale last week, so we just brought it back around, and he does deserve it.
He does, and Smith-Rowe, just for overall in the past couple weeks, I guess, is a build up to this Hassani of the week for him. Arsenal are absolutely flying right now.
They're going on. It's crazy.
10 games unbeaten in all competitions. I think they're in what, 5th?
Well, let me check in the league because
Yeah,
the reliability behinds are
just like one glance during the week at the table, being like, oh yeah,
wow, that's fantastic from you. They're 5th.
It is.
They are 5th with 20 points. Behind them is Man United with 17 and Brighton with 17. So a very expected table. Something you would.
Well, Southampton with 14, only 3 points behind Brighton now.
I mean, great. Just little tangent here.
Yes.
Great game from Southampton this week.
Great.
1-0 to Villa.
4 straight unbeaten.
Yeah, and what a shot from Adam Armstrong.
Oh my.
He has popped that.
Yes.
I mean, that was incredible.
Unreal.
And because it was so high up in the air, and he was able he was able to clock it and half volley that, and I mean the spin on the ball when you watch that is
satisfying,
scrumptious, as they would say.
Brilliant. All 3 of our wins have been 1-0s, so defense is looking strong. Maybe not goal scoring, but
yeah,
we'll see.
Paul said with Emil Smith-Rowe in the England squad, do you think he will be the next player to make his England debut? Who do you think will be the next player to make his England debut?
Well, do you know why he just got added to the squad?
I personally do not know.
James Ward-Prowse, illness, had to withdraw, so...
I mean,
there's levels. Yeah.
There's levels to it.
Ward-Prowse is above.
Clearly, Paul didn't mention that Ward-Prowse was the reason that ESR was featured in the England squad, or will be featured in the England squad. Also, so Emil Smith-Rowe hasn't gotten a cap yet then?
I don't think so.
Right, so Paul, he might be the next player to debut for England.
Is this... Yeah, I think it's the first time he's been on the first team.
Exactly. So, right, well, yeah, I mean, if you're counting youth teams, it's a bit different. But, right, I mean, he hasn't gotten his debut yet, and there's no guarantee he will.
No.
So, hopefully we'll see that, but there's also a chance that we don't. So, after Emil Smith-Rowe, I mean, it's a hard one. There's so many players that just pop up out of nowhere.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, thinking of who's in form right now that hasn't made a debut.
It's a really tough
for England.
One. It's a really tough one because ESR seems to be one of the last of the bunch that was coming
honestly,
up 2 years ago.
I could see Livramento maybe at some point,
or Tariq Lamptey if he's fit.
Of course,
obviously the outside back selection is at an absolute plethora.
I mean,
for that England team.
It's unreal. Mostly right back. Luckily, Livramento, or unluckily, he is right back. So he's very far down.
I mean, they have Luke Shaw at left back.
Yeah.
And, I mean, displacing him is going to be very hard. And Tariq Lamptey's also a right back, so that left back spot, obviously. For right back, you've got Livramento now.
Yeah.
Tariq Lamptey, Reece James.
Kyle Walker-Peters.
And Kyle Walker.
Kyle Walker.
Trent. Exactly, Trent. I mean, it's a ridiculously deep position.
For, no reason either.
Yeah, I know, why is it right back?
Yeah.
Paul said, I think possibly Curtis Jones. I mean, that's a good
It's
one,
true.
but he's not able to play right now because he's injured.
He
so
is.
if you're looking at the next player to debut for England, maybe we'll get one sooner than his recovery. I think he went out with an ACL or...
I mean, yeah.
It was something really bad.
At that point, too, you could say Harvey Elliott as well.
Yeah,
He got a terrible injury as well.
Yeah.
Has Greenwood not... Eli just said Greenwood. Did he not have his debut yet?
See, these are things that I just don't know.
I feel... Well, he obviously...
It was obviously not general knowledge.
Yeah.
Boys, you're going to have to let me know. Boys, if you can give me a list of the guys who are up and coming that haven't gotten their caps yet.
Greenwood's surprising to me. I know he was in the squad.
Yeah, Paul said Greenwood.
Yeah.
Of course, so Paul said Greenwood already made his debut. And if you have been following the podcast recently, or at all, you'll know that anything Paul says is probably right.
Yeah.
Because he just doesn't answer questions wrong. Dom said, I thought he didn't because of the hotel situation.
That's what I was saying.
I mean, if you guys don't know the hotel situation, him and Foden were taken out of the squad for a period of time because of a little incident that happened breaking COVID protocols while they were away in Iceland, right?
Yeah.
So
We also, another fan who texted in says Conor Gallagher, perhaps, who is great form right now.
see, that's a really good one.
Yes.
That's actually a fantastic shout. Because, right, if you're looking at Curtis Jones or Harvey Elliott, and the likes of those players that are up and coming, I don't see them getting a call up as quick because they don't get the playing time.
And they need to get back in form. Harvey Elliott was in form, and then he got injured. I think it will take a while for him to get back. And then Conor Gallagher, though, I'd say is one of the most in form, U20.
Well, yeah, he's in
England
form
player
and he
right now.
plays, right?
Yeah.
Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott aren't going to play for their sides very much. They'll play in cup games and they'll play in occasional Premier League games and they'll sub on for some big games. But, I mean, you're talking about Conor Gallagher, someone who's going to play most likely every single game outside of injuries and suspensions that he can for this Palace side. Patrick Vieira loves him. He's in great form right now. So I don't see a reason why he wouldn't get a possible call-up, especially if they're playing a team like Andorra or something in the break,
Yeah.
I mean, they are World Cup
Rotation,
qualifiers, but
yeah.
And if he continues developing with the rate that he is right now, which is unlikely, but if he does, I could totally see him being the next one to feature in that squad. But yeah, moving past Arsenal and the young England players, West Ham are now third in the league after beating Liverpool 3-2.
David Moyes.
David Moyes is a legend. He's an absolute legend. He has really transformed that side.
I mean, who would have...
Speaking of, we're going to talk a lot about bad managers today, or managers that haven't done the necessary things that they need to do to stay at their clubs. But David Moyes is not one of them, and he's far from it.
I know. I remember when they hired him, West Ham did a year or two ago, and I was like,
Skeptics.
that's just the most unattractive manager. You could not looks wise, just he's an old manager.
The ugliest manager I've ever seen.
He's just an old manager who failed at Man United, and why would you sign him? He's just gonna be probably mid-table manager at the most, and then all of a sudden he's got Antonio, best striker in the league.
In the world. Dude, Antonio's going to play against the U.S.
He will.
Because he's
Jamaica.
He's back. Him and Leon Bailey are back for Jamaica.
Jamaica's got a nice little squad going.
I mean, do they have... Who else do they have? Here, you keep talking about
they have
David.
Bobby Reed as well. From Fulham.
Bobby Reed, dude, I've used him in so many career modes. The guy has endless potential. Endless. I swear he never stops growing. But yeah, that Jamaican side is good. I'm looking it up right now because I swear when I was like looking up, it was last March or April when the U.S. played Jamaica in a CONCACAF
I remember that.
Gold Cup game.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, there was like a 46-year-old that subbed on for Jamaica, and I was like, what is going on right now?
I remember that.
So I looked up everyone on the national team roster, and I was like, it's ridiculous the like spread of people. Like, yes, they've got Antonio and Bailey, they've got Andre Gray,
Oh yeah,
Bobby Reed, a bunch of other like random.
a lot of like championship.
Yeah,
players,
there's a lot. It's super strange how they have so many championship players.
Because I feel like, well, you've seen it with Antonio,
Jamal Lowe,
and Reed. Yeah, you see them not probably getting a call up for England, so then they switch to Jamaica. So they're all have played in England for a while.
Yes, hilarious. Casey Palmer is on the Jamaican national team, and the first picture that comes up is him in an English shirt.
In England.
Like, I mean, it explains that completely.
But I mean, if they they have that squad for the next Gold Cup or something.
Well, right, and if they
or even World Cup, you could see like they.
The problem is I don't see them qualifying for this.
Not this one.
And Antonio is done probably after this World Cup.
Exactly.
So.
But like you never think of.
There are still more Jamaicans coming.
Yeah, and you don't think of like Jamaica as a possible World Cup team usually like at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but once you see all these players that they've recruited now, it's like, well,
yeah,
are they not? They're probably better than like a Costa Rica or something.
No, I agree with that. Yeah. I would love to see that game, and it's with CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers. It's so hard to tell because you go to like a El Salvador and you get destroyed because of the environment you're playing in, even though you have significantly more quality than the other side.
Yeah, we've seen it all the time.
So it's hard to tell, but like I would be genuinely shocked if this Jamaica side right now couldn't do bits in World Cup qualifying.
Yeah.
And bits, by bits I mean do much better than people think. Finish maybe third or fourth,
Yeah, I'm going to see. I don't think they're doing well now.
But I mean, Antonio and Leon Bailey just got a call up.
Yeah.
So there's, they could be bringing some firepower in for this next international break. What are they in the table right now?
They're 6th out of 8th, and I think it's top 3.
Yeah.
Isn't it like top 2 and then the others go
to top 2 and then the 3rd through 6th maybe go to a playoff.
So, they're on 5 points. 4th place Panama have 8, so like they could jump to 4th.
I mean, as long as they stay between...
It's extremely tight.
As long as they stay between 3 and 6, that's a 4-team playoff.
If they make 4th, then I think they have a chance maybe to go to the playoffs, unless it's only
no, it's 3 through 6.
Oh, it is.
So it's a semifinal and final.
Top 3, then 4 has qualification. Okay.
Yeah. Or maybe it's maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it's 4 has a qualification against another.
I think it's against like some like
South American team.
Yeah, or something like that.
Yeah, that might be it as well. Mm-hmm. So then. Right, then it would be, but it's a feasible jump.
They're very close to 4th. If they, depending on their schedule and who they've already played, I think it's very...
Exactly. Moving on in the Premier League, Man United lost the derby 2-0 to Man City. Yep. If you guys didn't tune in, it was an okay game. It was a derby, which brought some excitement, but Eric Bailly, who people have criticized highly for being extremely good and then extremely bad the week later, kind of showed that as he had an own goal and didn't do great on the defensive side of things. Yeah. And then Bernardo Silva had a really, people didn't give it enough praise, his goal. Did you see it?
I did.
It was a great cross to the back post. He ran around his defender and then hit it in, and it was great little turn of pace from him to get around. And then he hit it with a really tough angle. It did go off the keeper and go back in, but keeper was not expecting him to get there.
No, yeah. I was checking in on the score for first half and then watched the whole second half, and absolutely nothing from United. Oh, yeah. I remember seeing, like if you follow the Premier League on Instagram, they sometimes post a game and like the scoring likelihood of like chances and threats. Mm-hmm. And like second half, United was like, it's usually there's like spikes if they had a big chance. Yeah. It was like 0 spikes. Exactly. And then City with like a couple. And it just showed like in the game, it was City passing the ball around for
it was
45 minutes.
It was.
With nothing from United.
Completely. And I mean, the boys in the chat are backing that. Bad defending from United. Dom said Shaw had to do better with that. Like we said, I mean, it's a great turn of pace from Bernardo Silva. He's on your back, or he's not in your field of vision, so it's a tough one because you're not expecting that. But then again, you're supposed to be one of the best left backs in the world, and you've got a guy running in behind you. He's attacking your back. You got to be able to deal with it, and he didn't, and that's where they came up short. And like, those things happen. I think it was a good goal, and I don't think you can necessarily say the reason United lost is because of Luke Shaw, because those things happen in any game given any team. That just contributed to it. Overall, United had no creativity.
No. And
how is Ole been
transitioning to our manager talk?
Yeah, exactly. How
the most likely to get sacked has not been sacked.
Yeah, I mean, 2 weeks ago, if someone were to say who's gonna get sacked, I would have been like Ole. 100%.
All the chips in.
Literally, I would go all in on Ole.
Yeah.
And we have had 5 manager changes, I believe. Yeah, 5 manager changes in the last week, and none of them have been Ole.
No.
If anyone predicted that, I would give them my house.
I don't even know. And yeah, one guy has lost by multiple goals in multiple games in the past couple weeks. One guy at Norwich, won the first game of the season, gets sacked right after, Daniel Farke. And, like, Dean Smith as well, Villa, not even in relegation zone, but had a 5-game losing streak. He's sacked. And then you see Ole, who's extremely underperforming for the squad he has, and not getting sacked at all. And not having really any pressure from the board, it seems. From fans, yes, but, like, no one from, like, Man United have been like, oh yeah, he's
well, right. So they brought him into a meeting, and they were like, you have 3 games when he was already on the ropes. Like, you have 3.
It was
games.
already like he should be sacked at this point. They're like,
and
okay,
then
3
they
more
won.
games. They beat Spurs 3-0.
And that was huge.
And you're like, oh, they saved him again.
Yeah, which I was mad about. I was like, why do they keep doing this? If I was a Man United player, I'd get this guy out of here. Like, I'd score an own goal.
Like, yeah, it's fun to see Man U with Ole and being so inconsistent.
Oh, dude, I want to see funny.
I want to see like a new manager.
Oh, dude, it's too long.
Because it's such like a very talented squad.
Dude, I don't know if Ole even trains tactics. And that's a bold statement, but I actually don't know. Like, they don't have a game plan. No. Ever.
If you like ask me what's Ole's like manager tactics, I'd be like, I have no idea. Like,
I don't know.
Pass it to Pogba, hit it up to Ronaldo, and score.
Personally, I think that like he is entirely about managing the players. And he is like, I'm gonna make sure that everyone in this squad feels like they are, or everyone that I like in this squad feels like they are the best guy out there, that confident, that they have the ability to do everything they want. But then he doesn't tell them what to do with that.
Yeah.
He just gives it to them, and he's like, okay, go play. And it's like watching a pickup game with some of the best players in the world. Like, I don't understand how you can even be accepting of that as Man United's board. One of the Larsons upstairs who's listening said Varane being out playing a role. Maybe the own goal wouldn't happen because Bailly is the reason it went in. But no, I don't think that they would have won that game because of Varane. Because I have not been impressed with his start, personally.
I think he has done, like, well. He's a good defender anyway, but, like, he's not going to save.
He's not been... Dude, he was one of the best players in the Liga.
Yeah.
He is not showing that.
No, and he's not going to save a defense with extremely out of form Maguire and Shaw, who are doing extremely well in the Euros, and just absolutely dropped off. You can't you can't have one defender save a goalie, center back, and left back. Like, Wan-Bissaka has been, like, not talked about at all. But it's usually just on Shaw or Maguire or De Gea, so...
Another Larson said Ole is Ronaldo's biological dad. It's the only way he's not sacked. Ronaldo's saving his dad. Definitely the case here. We have some stuff to uncover. And then also that Sir Alex loves Ole. That's true, but I don't know if that's necessarily just like Sir Alex loving Ole or Sir Alex trying to protect the integrity of the club because he's such a Man United guy.
Can he, like, but realistically, can he, like, do anything? He can give his opinion, which matters a lot to, like, the board or whoever decides to keep Ole, but realistically, he can't make that decision to be like, okay, get him out now.
It's a tough one because he's so influential in the club and in the game of football.
I'd just be surprised he's said something where he's like, no, keep him.
Yeah, I don't think he's probably said that, but I think his support of Ole and public support of Ole has probably affected the board's decisions. But again, the club is under scrutiny right now, and he is a Man United boy until he dies.
Yeah.
That's Sir Alex. So, like, he's going to protect it as much as he can. You know, if he went against Ole, I don't think it would look good.
No.
Personally. Paul said, how much do you think Conte will improve Spurs? Actually, we'll move to that.
We'll move to Spurs.
So, if you guys don't know, Conte obviously signed to Spurs as Nuno was sacked. This was kind of a weird one because it happened after the Man United-Tottenham game where Man United won 3-0, and it was kind of the battle of the managers getting fired. You know, it was they called it El Sacico on social media because they thought whoever lost was going to get sacked. And that did happen.
Yeah.
Tottenham lost, and Nuno got sacked. And it actually kind of backfired for Man United because
their number one
possible recruit in that position just got picked up by the person they beat, so then they sacked their manager, right? So Antonio Conte, who was Man United's number one recruit for that position, was picked up by Spurs, and he didn't even want to go there. He was offered the job like in the summer, and he turned it down.
Yeah,
and when he was doing his like pre-managerial interview with all the press, he was like, he didn't say like, I'm so happy to come to a historic club where I can win trophies. He's like, I'm so happy to bring joy to people who have not had joy yet.
Yeah, I remember.
Like, okay.
Yeah, a quote was going around when he was at Chelsea. He said, "At Chelsea, we expect to win every game. At Tottenham, it's a dream. It's a hope to win a game." And obviously, that's not great to see your manager saying that a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
About your own team that he's managing now. But as Eli said, I agree. I think Tottenham will be a decent top 4 contender this year, if not next year. If they keep
I don't think this year, but I think
their defense, which he's kind of known for, will improve a lot.
Mainly, I was doing a bit of research on this, and his appointment was brought in, and he was given I believe it's $170 million, 25 or 30 something million euro transfer budget, and he's able to spend that, obviously with the board's permission, however he pleases, to improve the team. And I think they're going to be very lenient on how he spends it because he's such an experienced manager. But it feels like a really strange budget to give him because really when I look at that Tottenham side, the only positions that I am thinking that they desperately need are a good holding midfielder, because I think Tanguy and Ndombele needs to be able to move up the field more, and I don't think Harry Winks is going to cut it.
Højbjerg is decent.
I don't think that Højbjerg is going to be the guy that they're going to want to play at 6.
True. I think he is a better...
Harry Winks has been dropping back a lot, and
I don't really rate Harry Winks.
I'm not a huge
At
Harry
least in
Winks
that
fan.
system. I think he should leave and go to a smaller
club.
team.
Yeah, exactly. And Højbjerg, and so Tanguy and Ndombele can score, and Højbjerg's a good player, but I don't think I would trust my back line being protected by Højbjerg or my game being controlled by Højbjerg, because he doesn't do either well enough to say he can hold his ground there. He does both pretty well. He's a good ball winner and he's decent at distributing, but I would personally like to see either a really big, strong, physical CDM come in, or depending on the style that Conte likes to play, and I don't think the latter that I'm going to say is going to be the style he does, or a midfielder like a Jorginho or a Xavi, who obviously doesn't play anymore, but someone like that who can really move the ball around.
Yeah, I could see him bringing in some Italian defenders or defensive midfielders for sure.
And that's what brings me to my second point. They need a new defensive midfielder. I don't think their midfield's cutting it right now. But they also 100% need a new back line. They don't have the proper tools at center back right now. No. They brought in Romero over the summer, and he is not that great. They have... I mean, their best center back partnership that they've had over the past 5 years has been Toby Alderweireld and Jan Vertonghen, and both of them are gone now, right? So Jan's gone. Yeah, both of them are gone now. And so they have Reguilon, who I rate. I think he'll be fine out wide. He'll continue in the system. Lloris is fine in that back line, but I'd say one possible new center back is probably the biggest signing that they need. And
would you not think maybe with Kane out of form, maybe a new striker?
No, I think that's too aggressive right away.
At least not January, but like summer.
I don't even think in the summer. I think that no.
Even if Kane leaves?
If Kane leaves, you need to bring in a new striker. Kane will leave.
Yes.
But I don't think you're looking to bring in another Kane.
Obviously, there's not many.
Exactly. I think you're looking at a downgrade in the striker position, but the possibility to use the 170, which is a plethora of money for a CDM and a center back. Like, you're not going to spend that much money.
You could do that in 70.
You can get a world-class CDM and a world-class center back for 70 million. And then you can like shore up that back line. And then, I mean, you got Heung-min Son, you got Tanguy Ndombele, you got Højbjerg. Great players, in my opinion, going forward and keeping the ball. Højbjerg in the middle, and Tanguy can score. And if Harry Kane leaves, obviously, you need to fill that striker role. But you have Lucas Moura on the wing, and he's a great player too. He can fit a system. It's just you need to unlock him. So really, it's just getting another striker. And I don't think it needs to be someone as good as Harry Kane, because if they can solidify that back line, then they're going to have the freedom to move forward without being as, I don't know what you would say, conservative about their back line and keeping it like they play with so many people back right now because they're not able to trust in their back line.
Yeah, exactly. And as the chat has said, like, that's exactly who I had pictured in my mind. Barella, great Euros.
Yeah, he's really young.
I could see him coming in.
Would you see? I would like seeing either an older CDM and a younger center back, or an older center back and a younger CDM.
Yeah, and then Bastoni, yes, Skriniar, who's been rumored for Spurs for like years, and Chelsea as well. But like I could see him moving on. But at the same time, I see Son also leaving this summer. If Kane leaves, I don't see.
That's a tough one.
It would be kind of hard for him to stay.
I think it depends on how Conte changes the team throughout this coming season, and then also the opportunity he proposes in the offseason.
Yeah.
And what his plans are. Paul said with 3 center backs, how Conte plays. He plays a 3-5-2, if you guys didn't know. They need someone for the left side, but also someone else in there. That's what I was saying. I think the left back position is a little bit less needed and high up on the agenda. I think a center back is enormously important for them right now. Skriniar would probably be my number one pick if I were to choose. People are rumoring De Ligt, but first off, he hasn't been that successful at Juve like he was at Ajax when he was younger. And also, like, they're not going to let him go.
No.
So,
yeah, maybe
Skriniar. And then I don't really know who I'd bring in for that CDM position. It's a really tough job that he's walked into. But yeah, I mean, only time will tell, and we'll have to see where Conte takes that team, and we'll follow up later.
Yeah, we will. And I guess we did talk about Xavi to Barcelona rumored before, and if that was the right fit, if they should go with someone more experienced.
And I said no.
Yeah, I think we both were like, we don't really know, maybe a smaller team first and then Barca. But if Barca comes knocking, I think Xavi was never going to turn that down, and he did sign and had his kind of presentation today in the stadium. Obviously, everything looks very high potential now, but once the games get going, it'll be very interesting to see how he has that squad.
Yeah.
Pep had a lot of faith in him. He's perfect for the team.
Right. It's a weird one because, like we said last episode, and I'm just gonna summarize it because I don't want to, for everyone listening who also listened last week, I don't want to ramble about the same thing. But
the
Barca
squad,
squad,
on it for too long,
the Barca squad's not good enough to solidify them wins that they're expecting, that the fans are expecting, that the board's expecting. No matter what manager you bring in, they're not going to get enough wins to be able to meet those objectives. So you're going to have grace. And the biggest fear that I have is Xavi going in and being a fantastic manager, but getting sacked eventually because the squad around him is just not good enough.
Yeah, and obviously, like, We did talk about it as in if Xavi actually had already signed last weekend. But again, I'd just say to finish up, is it too soon? We don't know. In his kind of managing career.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say yes. If I had to pin it down right now, I'd say yes. But again, he's one of the he's proved to be a good manager.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah, it's a strange one. And that does not mean I'm not excited about it. I think I'm really interested.
It would be insane if they just went on a run now.
Yeah,
and had like. It would remind me of Pep at Barcelona in 2011. Those years, just a young manager,
exactly,
playing great soccer.
And then moving over or back to the Premier League, Eddie Howe moved to Newcastle this week.
He did, and honestly, when what's his name, Unai Emery was heavily linked, and then turned it down, I saw him as like a perfect fit.
Unai, good evening.
Exactly. That's exactly who I saw. Kind of like with Spurs and Conte, I was like that. Yeah, that just fits to me.
Yeah, I think Spurs Conte is better than Conte United.
Yeah, and I was kind of surprised with an English manager being signed because I feel like the way Newcastle is headed is much more outside of England players, just because they have all the money, and I feel like they aren't gonna spend it on like average to decent English players. They're gonna go to the other leagues and bring in new exciting talent. So I was surprised they'd go with an English manager and not one like Unai Emery, who maybe has more experience in other leagues instead of Eddie Howe, just Bournemouth. So
yeah. Moving again, Dean Smith was sacked, previous manager of Villa, and they were on a 5-game losing streak, I believe, around that. And people were accusing him a lot, and maybe rightfully so, of being kind of a Grealish merchant. Last year, he saw success often because of that star player in his squad, being able to rescue them, and also their play style just being based around him being in there. So clearly just didn't do the job well enough, didn't replace in the spots that he needed to. And it's hard when you're selling your best player for $100 million to Man City, like
a player who literally did everything for you.
He did everything for you, and you still weren't like a top dog in the Prem. So anything less than you can, and you're looking at a possibility of relegation.
It's tough to blame it on Dean Smith. It's not like oh, he had a good player. Like, what else is he supposed to do?
Exactly.
He's gonna rely on him. But I mean, they brought in Ings, they brought in Buendia. Leon Bailey, like they brought in the talent.
Although I don't feel like Buendia or Leon Bailey has had to start.
None of them have started well, which is why he got sacked. Exactly. But they brought in big money signings to do it, and it just didn't work out.
It's just not the same as having Grealish on your side. And then one last sacking in the Premier League that rounds up the total amount of sackings that happened.
It's like a transfer
ridiculous.
window.
It is. Daniel Farke was sacked from Norwich, but after they won 2-1 against Brentford, it was a strange time to sack him. And obviously, it's most likely that it was a predetermined decision, and the squad knew and the manager knew that it was his last game.
Play this one for me.
Yeah.
And then they win.
Yeah.
It's like, well.
And so it just looks bad.
No, it's like, to someone who doesn't know soccer that well, if they saw that, they'd be like, what's going on?
Yeah, exactly.
Because you don't really see that in American sports.
Yeah.
Because it's not, you can't really
well, there's not as much
you can't really
firing
switch
coaches.
Yeah, you can't really switch coaches, but like it's just hilarious. It's like
it was the
naked eye. Yeah.
It was a strange one. And then the Larsons upstairs said, with all this manager excitement, who is the manager that took a team without changes in personnel and most impressively turned a season around all time? I mean, this one is fairly obvious to me. And it doesn't happen very often, and it's a very hard thing to do. But I think you have to say the Leicester season.
That's
2016.
All that came. That was the only
Claudio
one that
Ranieri.
I thought of. Yep. I don't think there's any other answer.
I mean, he had a side with Jamie Vardy, Riyad Mahrez, and N'Golo Kante
in relegation battle till the last day of the season.
Exactly.
And then just
I mean, he turned them around. Well, no. So Leicester were in a relegation battle, right? And until the last day of the season, in 2015, and their existing manager, who I don't actually remember, turned them around.
I can see his face. Yeah, I don't know.
He turned them around, and they stayed in the Premier League, and then they signed Claudio Ranieri in the summer, and then he came in, and not too many changes to the squad. They had, going into that Premier League season, players who you would look at now and be like, oh, they're incredible. I understand why they did so well. Yeah. But at this time,
no one knew.
You're looking at like a Norwich squad. You know what I mean? You're looking at a Brentford squad. But they had the likes of N'Golo Kante, Jamie Vardy, Riyad Mahrez, Kasper Schmeichel.
You're looking at like a Brentford when they had Ollie Watkins and Ben Rama.
Exactly.
Before like people knew they were good.
Yeah, and if Ben Rama and Ollie Watkins, like 2 years from now, just became like out of this world. Yeah, like because Jamie Vardy's one of the best strikers in the world. Yeah. Riyad Mahrez is on one of the best teams in the world and gets time and does pretty decent.
And just is a very good player.
And N'Golo Kante, best CDM in the world. Yeah. Right. So you have Kasper Schmeichel, great goalkeeper. So you had great players on that team, but it was unknown talent. So I think the biggest thing is when you're able to get the best out of your players, and then usually when you're able to do that, they'll go on to become incredible players. But that's the time that comes to mind the most. So yeah, that kind of rounds up the whole Premier League manager sacking situation and Premier League. But we did want to touch on, before we go into fantasy,
Nigel Pearson.
Nigel Pearson, yeah. Of course Paul knew. I mean, of course. But yes, we wanted to move to the MLS. Times are, or it is crunch time now, and it was over the past couple days as the playoff push was on, and now the playoffs have been decided. But it was a stressful night last night for Loons fans.
It was the most fun I've had all season, honestly.
It was stressful and fun.
Yeah. So if you don't know MLS that well, they have decision day where it's the last day of the season. But unlike European leagues, the whole league goes into playoffs to win the actual championship, no matter, because it's broken into conferences. Yeah. So to make the playoffs, you have to be 7th seed or higher, I believe.
Yeah.
So
basically 7th in the table. The table's split in half. There's two sides, Western, Eastern, and you have to be 7th or higher on both sides to make the playoffs.
So Man United came in, I feel like they were 5th going into it, and they were playing LA Galaxy, who were also in a playoff spot at the time, but it was like tied on points for like 4 places down. So all Man United needed to do was win or draw to go through, or lose and other teams below them to lose as well. So a pretty favorable place. Yeah. They start by going up 2-0.
Which I was delighted by. I was like, wow, this is incredible. I was like, oh, we're not choking it.
Yeah, because last year during playoff time, we were insanely good. Reynoso, new signing, was doing unreal
bits.
So I was like, oh, we're back to our best. And then we concede 1, concede 2, and then I think we scored, right? Make it 3-2.
Yeah, we made it 3-2.
And then they scored again. And then
we scored with the Julian Araujo own goal. I felt so bad for him. They made it 3-2. And then Chicho it was insane.
He had some unreal finishes.
I mean, but the third goal.
Yeah.
He side biked it. Yeah. I'm like, this guy. Yeah. Every single time. It was crazy.
It was just an insane game. Finished 3-3, but at that time, Salt Lake, who were below Galaxy, were winning with a last-minute goal, and our game was still going on. So if we would have lost, we would have been out, and Galaxy would have been in. But we held on for the draw and got it. It's very confusing, but
it's super confusing. It was kind of like,
in the end, we made it.
It's kind of like final day stuff in the Premier League, right? Like, this team wins.
Oh, goal differential.
Yeah, all that stuff. But basically, United needed a win or tie, and we missed a penalty, and we thought it was over, and then we held out for the tie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a very stressful day. But now we move on to the playoffs, and our first game is against the 4 seed Portland away. And
which we won earlier in the season away.
We did. But I'm worried. Portland away is a tough game.
It is.
It's a really tough
like you
game.
said, a fortress.
That stadium is a fortress.
Providence Park.
It's so. I mean, Suddy even has experience with the Timber Stadium being a fortress.
On FIFA.
Yeah, on FIFA.
Oh, that was their fault.
But yeah, I mean it's a tough place to play. The Timbers have history in the MLS.
Yep.
Lots of it. They have a good side, 4 seed. They're favored to win. They're at home. I mean, I don't know. It's a tough one. I'm worried.
We're so inconsistent this season. You can never tell.
We could win the whole thing or we could lose next game.
Yeah, but then even if we do win that, we then play Colorado first seed,
which is
they're unreal this season. I don't even know how. Angie asks, is Sutton a real person?
Sutton is a real person.
I believe so.
Yes, we think. We're not really sure, but we think.
Yeah, exactly.
But
very optimistic from Dom.
Yeah, Dom said I think we can pull it off. I mean,
believe
pulling off MLS Cup final appearance, I would be shocked.
I would.
Winning this next game.
We were about
70-30.
5 minutes away last season from getting through.
Yeah. And we were arguably much better
at
that time.
I remember.
Much better.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have to see. It's a tough one. I would think that our chances are against us, to say the least.
Yeah.
Now moving into fantasy, I have not had the best week, and that seems to be I was above the average, but I still haven't had the best week. I mean, my goalkeeper got -1. So it was Rob. He got the red card.
Oh my.
Lewis Dunk went in goal. You saw that, right?
I did.
It was incredible.
He should have been Sonny of the Week.
Just snub Paul. Again.
Yeah, exactly.
Give Dunk the Sonny of the Week.
Yeah, so I guess I'll start.
Yeah.
I was below average. Average was 42. I had 34 points. It's bad when Pookie is your top points leader with Livramento.
You had Pookie as well.
Yes,
nice.
Pookie with 9 points, honestly.
Yeah, I was debating captaining him, and then I was like, I'm going to get made fun of if I do.
I might need to switch Fernandez as captain.
That's a tough one, yeah.
So yeah, average, below average, but still average for my team.
Yeah, mine, I was above average, but I'm not really happy with the week overall. Salisu didn't sub on, and he had 5. And I was, right, so I was on my computer, and I switched around the whole team, and I was like, all right, I got it. And then I closed my computer, and I didn't press the save your team thing.
No.
And then the week started.
Yeah.
So I had Salisu in originally.
Yeah.
For Matty Cash, and so that was a bit of a.
I mean, you always gotta trust Salisu.
I looked at the game. I was like, he's gonna do well. He's going to.
Yeah.
But my top point scorer was Conor Gallagher, 11, followed by Harvey Barnes, 10, and I captained Conor Gallagher in the time when this sounds like a lie, but it's not. I literally changed my team around and then didn't save. And then Pookie with 9, Vardy with 4, who was my captain, not by choice. And so I got 47 in total. It's okay. I'm probably still second to last in the league. Yup, still second to last in the league. You are 22 points ahead of me.
There it is.
I'm creeping up there.
Yeah.
I am.
We're
and we're really far down from
Yeah.
the rest of the batch.
Yeah.
So it's a tough one. it really is. And then moving over to the draft league.
I mean, one of the most electric fixtures of this season.
Who is it?
Me against Paul.
Oh,
I win by
how electric.
1 point.
That's incredible.
47-46. My leaders were Walker Peters, Smith Rowe, Pookie again, Digne with 5 as well, and Paul just missing out by 1 point. I was very surprised. See that he had Cancelo with 14 points, Bernardo with 8. So, I mean, how I pulled that.
Mac, I played you this week, I swear.
No, it says Paul here.
That's fixtures. That's next week.
Oh, that's next week.
I played you.
So I beat you by 1.
No, you beat me by 20.
Oh.
Look, my team, 26 points. Diaz was 6.
Oh, yeah.
Trossard with 10. And that's it. That is really it. Everyone else had 1 or 2.
I didn't need the 47 points.
You did not.
I didn't need the extra point.
Yeah, no, you were looking at next week's fixture, although that is going to be electric.
That will be it.
It's going to be a great
Where's Paul? Oh, no, he's last. So
yeah.
I'm fine.
No, but it's got history to it.
It's true.
The Paul fixture has some history.
It does.
I'm sitting in 6th in the league. Eli's still in 1st, so, I mean, Eli's had suffering from success.
There's a bit of a gap there from 4th to 5th.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm not too happy with my with my point total right now.
The leaders have separated.
There does seem to be like a top four.
There is a top four battle right now.
But I still have Europa League, so we're chilling.
Yeah.
Right.
You do.
All right. Well, that concludes this week's episode of the Class on Grass podcast. Hopefully you all enjoyed. We'll be back next week. Probably maybe on Sunday, maybe on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
We'll surprise you guys.
We will.
And until then, hopefully you can watch some footy, get to relax, enjoy yourselves, and peace.